we'll be starting with geography. I guess it's audible. So we'll be starting with geography in the today's lecture. Geography and environment will be dealt by me. That is the entire this two parts of some parts of the paper 1 and as well as paper 3. Q paper 3 because the disaster management and environment is given in paper 3. Now, when we say this subject, we will first introduce ourselves to the syllabus of the subject, and after that we will do the geomorphology part of geography. So, this part being a technical, thoda, I want to just ask you that how many of you have already done the basics, or should I consider this as a totally fresh class? वैसे तो मैं fresh ही consider करता हूँ, just asking for the sake of asking कि how many of you know this as a थोड़ा बहुत basics of geography? So most of the people are here fresh. See, let me introduce myself. आज मैं पहले दिन ही late हो गया आपके class में. So I am Rishikesh. I am also your course director for the GS. So if any problem is there in the entire general studies, we'll have to first look for me and then for madam. So how your general studies classes will be scheduled, कब कौन से test होने हैं, क्या होना है. So we have decided on that is what I mean by the course director of GS. We will require around 35 to 40 lectures of geography and then around 15 to 20 lectures for the environment. Disaster का कोई separate lecture will not be there because disaster will be done along with the geography. For example, we study the earthquakes, we do the earthquake disaster management. We study volcanoes, and thankfully India में there is no volcano, so we do not have volcano disaster management. We study landslides, landslide disaster management. What should be done for the landslide? So each and every disaster या geographical phenomena when we study, we do उसका disaster management. And before I go, how many questions from geography in prelims this year? 12 to 15 questions from geography, and environment में से somewhere around 8 to 10 questions. That is, you should remember that around 20 to 23 questions come in the preliminary examination from this part. कैसे 20 to 23 questions we will see in the next lecture. Let us first get us understand the syllabus. In the next lecture, because MSP का question is agriculture का part, we will do it in geography. Some of the export processing zone का questions are again and part from the agriculture. Some of the questions regarding the interior of the earth, that is whether there was oxygen or there was no oxygen when the earth started, again it becomes a part of the today's lecture itself, that is the geological time scale. So in this way, if we study, we can easily find some 20 to 23 questions from the subject. And what is the good thing about 20 to 23 questions here? Exactly, अगर बताऊंगा तो 23 questions. Out of this 23 questions, 22 are easily answerable. सिर्फ एक ही question है which is more or less difficult. बाकी most of the questions are easily answerable. The difficult question was that of coral reefs. If you have seen this year's question paper, एक question था in the coral reefs, that coral reefs or the corals have more of an ocean phyla as compared to that of the tropical rainforest. जब मैं आप पढ़ाऊंगा, I will say that tropical rainforests are most diverse ecosystems on the earth. And उसके बाद आता है coral reefs. Still, if you look at the answer की, ये statement is right. इसने statement ने कहा है कि the coral reefs have more phyla as compared to that of an tropical evergreen forest. उसका reason is because when we say phyla, it is totally different from biodiversity. Phyla is a concept from biology. That is, how many different kind of animals are there, how many kingdoms of animals are there. And if you consider abhi logically also, land से एक kingdom ज़्यादा होगा in the oceans, that is those who can swim. So obviously the answer is coral reefs have more of an phyla as compared to that of a tropical evergreen forest. If you look at this year's question, the kind of the question paper demanded a lot. It required that you should be very clear in the map pointing. Map के 4 question थे and map के 4 questions were very easy if you are following the map pointing. क्या था कि अफगानिस्तान की 1-2 territories पूछी थी, फिर इराक पैलेस्टाइन वाला वेस्ट एशिया वाला रीजन पूछा था. And if you look at the past questions, every year you will find a question which is coming either from the Mediterranean Sea region or from the the West Asia region. That means this part of our map should be done very properly. Next question जो था map based जो difficult था कि Delhi and Bangalore or Delhi and Nagpur which lies at the same latitudes. Now there are some of the students, if you remember, we had done this in QIP. So we had done this in QIP that Delhi and Bangalore more or less कि Delhi के latitudes में क्या क्या कौन से important, that is which whenever you are doing the maps, we'll be doing the maps in the class itself along with the geographical phenomena so that you are very comfortable in coming to such kind of questions. और उसके बाद भी अगर difficult आता है, see this is UPSC exam, 100 में से 100 नहीं करने हैं, हमें कितने करने हैं, 100 में से 80 करने हैं, 100 में से 85 करने हैं. There will be some difficult questions which you will realize over the period of time. Ma'am must have told you that there will be test every week. So this Monday you will be having a test of whatever has been covered till Saturday. ज़्यादा नहीं है, I guess your modern India has started and the geography will start here. Also, I guess you are reading the Hindu newspaper. So Hindu में से भी we will be asking you tidbits of the test because this test will be, because your batch is there, this test will be objective in nature. उसके बाद we will have a subjective test. So every week you will be having test and उससे आपको पता चलेगा initially first 2 week में tests are very easy. जैसे उस batch का which has started on 10th June, UPSC level का questions have come from this test onwards जो इस Monday को हुआ था. And you can see their ranking is outside. So you get to realize how you are performing. You get to realize how you are performing as compared to the friends in the classroom. So इसीलिए test ज़रूर देना. The other thing regarding the test is, test में कभी-कभी current affairs के ऐसे factual questions आएंगे which will not be taught in any class or you will not find anywhere. So you should treat these questions as an information and note it down somewhere. कि for example, that is the World Justice Report कौन देता है और the role of women in the world, ये report अभी recently किस organization ने publish किया, because we know that there will be 2 and 3 reports which are coming every year in the examination. So in this way you should keep on revising yourself. Geography, environment, history, polity, ये core areas है. Economy, this is a core area. Questions can be direct, questions can be indirect. But if these core areas are stronger, if you can understand the concepts and apply this to the other parts, then your examination preparation is very, very easy. Now, one message we forgot to give you yesterday, that you should be buying a Oxford ka atlas whenever you come to the geography ka class. So from tomorrow's class, you should be carrying the Oxford Atlas, which is red in color. दो type के atlas है. That is, one is the Oxford School Atlas, the other is this Oxford Student Atlas. I want you to buy this Oxford Student Atlas, not the School Atlas if you are having. If you are having any other atlas, it's fine. You don't want to spend all 200 रुपए, so it is fine. Because the atlas I am asking you to buy is, if this atlas is there in the class, मेरे लिए काम आसान होता है, आपके लिए काम आसान होता है. When I open page number 74 and see this marking, open XYZ page and see this marking. The second reason for this atlas is, this is the only atlas in which India ka physical and India ka political is given at the 2 different pages. So this states here is UP. UP का physical map is given here. Physical मतलब geographical phenomena and political मतलब cities and the state. So ये जो map है, this shows UP, this shows Bihar, this shows West Bengal. The second good thing about this atlas is, जो भी political map है उसमें important national parks is given. और question आते हैं XYZ national park in which state. Question आता है national park में से which river is passing. Or what is the kind of an animals that are found. Animals नहीं दिखेंगे यहाँ पे, but you will be able to see the national parks. The other thing for this atlas is color codes are very easy. See here, this is the northwestern part of our country. And though this is the northwestern part of our country, that is, and यहाँ पे there is a political map. Becomes very easy for you which national highway runs parallel to the Pakistan border. बाकी के atlas में it is not given. जो दो Orient Black Swan is preferred by many of the people, But remember, अगर आपको seniors बोल रहे हैं Orient Black Swan, either they are having geography as an optional subject, or they have been guided by someone who is having geography as an optional subject, because Orient Black Swan में इतनी ज़्यादा information है, the pointers are so much that is not required for general studies. And Orient Black Swan does not distinguish between the political and the physical map. Even this week when Orient editors came to the class, I suggested them the same thing, that is, if you want to copy the format of Oxford. Information kam zyada is not important, information should be easily understandable. So the information इनको आपको इसमें Oxford में it is easily understandable. Every day from tomorrow in the class you bring this Oxford Atlas. आज ही class के बाद you buy this atlas. So with this we will start the basic idea of the subject. See, after going home, you will be getting this PPT. You go through the PPT and I will discuss the PPT tomorrow. In this subject, because we will be following the two models. हम करेंगे classes में major themes. We will understand many of the things in the class for main examination. And after doing things in the class, today this projector is not working, नहीं तो ये शुरू हो जाता. So we will discuss some of the things on the PPT. ये तो syllabus है, but जैसे हम landforms करेंगे, we will do many of the features. उसका crux will be given in the form of PPT, and PPT will help you in understanding the issue and also revising it for prelims. PPT से mains की पढ़ाई नहीं होगी, पर PPT से prelims का revision will be very easy. For example, we are doing the glacial landforms, and in the glacial landforms, we will study the entire glacial landforms in the form of this kind of PPT. And I guess you know how to use the website. You know कि कहाँ पे आता है PPTs, you know कहाँ पे attachments आते हैं. So after the class, if we cover anything, you will be getting most of the things in the form of PPT. So this is we have done the glacial landforms in the other class. थोड़ा डिटेल में किया, बट प्रीलिम्स के लिए क्या याद रखना है? All these things which are given in the form of PPT. So it becomes very easy for you to revise the entire thing. So U-shaped valleys क्या है, V-shaped valleys क्या है, etc. So when we do this, the syllabus of geography in the terms of paper 1 and paper 2, if you look at the key pointers, the first part of our syllabus says that it is the salient features of the world's physical geography. This is mains ka syllabus. This is not prelims ka syllabus. The first part of our syllabus says it is the salient features of the world's physical geography. What do you mean by physical geography? It means earth, जिसके ऊपर हम stay कर रहे हैं. It also means mountains. It also means the rivers which are flowing. It also means the surrounding air, that is the climate. If you are living in the coastal region, it also means the oceans or the waters which are present. So salient features of the world's physical geography में हम पूरा lecture plan, this entire part, ये एक statement is 50% of our syllabus. सिर्फ एक statement में दिया है. This is how they make the syllabus. They have not told if geomorphology, climatology, oceanography, that is the salient features of the world's physical geography. Now when we consider this part of India, if we consider the salient features of the world's physical geography, India में क्या है? There is Himalayas. उसके बाद we stay in an area which is known as the Great Plains of India. After that we have a land mass which is known as an Peninsula Plateau. After that we have यहाँ पे the land mass which are known as the coastal plains. So each and every of this land mass, can I say the Himalayas are different from the Great Plains of India? Great Plains of India are different from the peninsular plateau. How they are different? Maybe they are different in the terms of rock, maybe they are different in the terms of height, and also with the height the climate also changes. How along with the height climate changes? विंटर्स में समर्स में हिल स्टेशंस पे जब जाते हो तो आप ऊपर जाते हो या नीचे जाते हो? You go up. So with the height, can I say the temperature goes on reducing? So all this change, what is happening is what is known as an world's physical geography. So Delhi की soil क्या है? The surrounding regions का soil क्या है? What is the soil of Himalayas? If what is the soil of the peninsular plateau? If there is a soil, the peninsular Himalayas mein why there is a chances of landslide, this all will come in the terms of world's physical geography. That is, we will discuss in detail how we are going to study the syllabus, and then you can understand the syllabus. World's physical geography mein, as of now you remember, there is geomorphology, there is climatology, and there is oceanography. This is the salient features of the world's physical geography. Now I am asking you one simple question. नीचे जाओगे आप और मिट्टी का कलर देखोगे तो what is the color of a soil? Reddish in color. Why is it so? How pressure will determine the color? Presence of iron. Now if you go to peninsula, anyone from peninsular plateau from the state of Maharashtra or Malwa plateau of, so what is the color in which area? Nagpur. He is saying black soil. So वहाँ पे the color of the soil is black in color. Why is it so? Because of something known as an basaltic rock. Now basaltic rock also has more of an iron. Anyone from Rajasthan? Anyone from the northwestern part of India? Jaisalmer or sub region? So which part? J&K. So what is the color of soil there? The color of soil there will be lighter, yellowish in color. अब I am asking you all this is why is it so? Because किसी में iron ज़्यादा है, किसी में calcium ज़्यादा है, किसी में some other minerals are different, and that is the second part of our syllabus which tells that the world distribution of resources. World's distribution of resources. But in our syllabus, there is specifically given including Asia and South Asia. And when we consider resources, this can be industrial resources, that is mineral resources. We can say the other kind of resources are energy resources, they can be food resources, or even we are an example of a resource what is known as an human resources. So that is the second part of our syllabus, that is the world distribution of resources, but specifically bracket में दिया है, that is the including Asia and South Asia. अब you understand one thing here, if you go on studying world distribution of resources in general studies, फिर general studies और optional में कोई फर्क नहीं रहेगा, because this part of our syllabus has been added after 2013, and if you want to study at the world level, so coal in UK, coal in Germany, iron ore in UK, iron ore in Europe, iron ore in India, iron ore in इंडोनेशिया, ये बहुत ज़्यादा फैक्चुअल हो जाएगा. सो अभी तक एंड इवन इन नेक्स्ट 20 years आई एम गारंटिंग दैट यहाँ पे क्वेश्चन वोंट गो आउटसाइड इंडिया. दो द सिलेबस में दिया है वर्ल्ड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ रिसोर्सेज, दे विल बी फोकसिंग ओनली ऑन इंडिया, बट हर साल दो क्वेश्चन आते हैं इन द वर्ल्ड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ रिसोर्सेज. एक प्रीलिम्स में आएगा ही 100%. इफ यू हैव सीन दिस ईयर्स प्रिलिमिनरी एग्जामिनेशन, उसमें था राजस्थान हैज आयरन और नॉट. That part of an question is the world distribution of resources. They won't go outside the syllabus. If you look at this year's main examination, They had asked you about the distribution of coal in India. They had asked you about the, पिछले साल they had asked you about the distribution of tea in India. उससे पहले they had asked you about the coffee trade in the world. उससे पहले they had asked you about the sugarcane industries in India. उससे पहले they had asked you about the cotton industries in India. So कहाँ से आ रहा है? All this is coming from the second part of our syllabus. Why from the second part of the syllabus is because if you look at the area, now you consider a situation that you are an industrialist and you want to set up an iron and steel industry. For example, you want to set up an iron and steel industry. It will be based on the resources. क्या दो inputs चाहिए iron and steel industry के लिए? We require iron ore, and the other part is we require is source of energy, and the most common source of energy is coal. इंडस्ट्री सेटअप करके क्या करोगे? बेचोगे? So you require market. So these are the source of raw material. Now if you are going to set up iron and steel industry, there are some kind of industries which need to be set up near the source of raw material. There are some kind of industries which need to be set up near the market. Ab you will have to study in this subject which industry is based on the raw material, which industry is based near the market. Can anyone tell me whether the iron and steel industry is raw material based industry or market based industry? Market based industry, raw material based industry. Why is it so? If market based, tell me an example. Okay, iron and steel industry. Anyone saying why it is raw material based industry? Yes. Now you understand. This part, that is this industry, iron and steel industry, is a raw material based industry. Now he gave an example of an Jindal Steel. We'll come to that exceptions later on. Why it is a raw material based industry? Maybe for एक simple words में आपको मैं समझा रहा हूँ. To make 1 kg of iron, to make 1 kg of steel, we require somewhere around 5 kgs of iron ore and 5 kgs of coal. This is just a simple example I am telling. Exactly itna nahi, thoda bahut variation are there. But 5 kg of iron ore if you take and 5 kg of steel if you take, 5 kg of coal if you take, you will make 1 kg of steel. Now, if you set up it near the market at point A, what you will be doing? You will be transporting 5 kgs of iron ore, you will be transporting 5 kgs of coal, and then making a finished good 1 kg, and you will be transporting this of 1 kg. You will be in loss. Why? Because ये 5 kg का transport and 5 kg का transport, you will be paying extra amount of money in the form of transportation का rent. So as a result of this, iron and steel industry is always based on this phenomena: transport 1 kg, transport 1 kg, 5 kgs and 5 kgs near the raw material and transport the finished good away. Apply this to India. Chota Nagpur Plateau region, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh region. All these are the industries which are based near the source. So this is why the iron and steel industry is always located near the raw materials. See, आज का lecture we will be only building the blocks, because once you understand this thing in today's lecture, उसके बाद geography थोड़ा आसान लगेगा, because geography is science. नाम के लिए social science है. Geography is nothing but physics in simple words. Geography is nothing but a proper total science, at least ये physical जो geography है, cause and effect relationship है. What is the difference between science and non-science subject? In science subject like geography, 2 plus 2 is 4. In non-science subjects such as maybe political science or sociology, you have to prove 2 plus 2 is 6. That is the basic difference between this, and यहाँ पे it is totally cause and effect relationship. सिर्फ scientific subjects में obviously factual data थोड़ा will be more, and therefore geography is more of an factual data. Geography does not become science when we come to the next part, that is human geography. Human geography is not science because humans are involved. And how it is not a science? Because science says that human, according to science, अगर human geography में science लगाना है हमें, तो ये soil है, तो human beings will see कौन सा soil है, it will study the soil, it will study the moisture, and it will take the crops or resources or set up industries accordingly. उसको पता है 2:30 बजे क्लास शुरू होती है, तो वो सुबह 2 बजे ही आके बैठेगा. But we are human beings. That is, मैं निकला 2 बजे घर से. Why? Because emotions play a major role rather than the logic. That is the difference between the scientific subject and the human geography. So when we study this part, apply this to the raw materials. अब raw materials क्यों है वहाँ पे, we will understand while doing the geological time scale. But if we look at the distribution of the raw materials in India, most of the raw materials are based in the peninsular plateau region, and therefore industrialization is greater in the peninsular plateau region. And उसमें से भी there is industrialization is greater in the Chota Nagpur plateau. This part of India is known as an Chota Nagpur plateau, or this part of India is Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, etc. This region. Apply this to the geopolitics law of geography. ये सब हमें syllabus में करना है. The only thing is कि हम directly ये theories use नहीं करेंगे. अगर theories का नाम लिखा तो it becomes optional. अगर theories को indirectly लिखा तो it becomes GS. The same logic applies to political science. The same logic applies to sociology. का answer. That distinguishes between the GS and the optional. That what does this theory says? This theory says that if the development has to be occurred in some places of the world, then the other places of the world should be kept as a source of raw materials only. You do not have the luxury to develop them. You should keep that areas backward. If you keep that areas backward, then only raw materials will be available at a cheaper price. And if the raw materials are available at a cheaper price, then only industrial profit will increase. And if the industrial profit will increase, then only people will keep on working, and there will be demand in the market. अगर demand in the market है, तो ही लोग buy करेंगे. अगर लोग buy करेंगे, तो there will be more and more jobs which are created, and thus the cycle will keep on going. And इसमें the best industry which is known as an robbers industry is the iron and steel industry. It is the base of all the industries. Without iron and steel industry, there cannot be the industrial development, but it is also known as an robbers industry, because if you are setting up iron and steel industry in this regions, or if anyone is setting up iron and steel industry, उसके लिए can I say iron and steel industry requires heavy investments? First thing, large amount of money. Secondly, long gestation period. Building period is very longer. उसके बाद skilled labor लगता है in the terms of engineers, and you have to give the facilities to them. अब ये सारा चीज़ों के लिए you require capital, and capital is not available with the local people. Capital will come in India from the industrial centers of Mumbai or Delhi, or in the India from outside, that is POSCO, or from outside. And if they are putting it capital, and यहाँ पे development अगर होता है in the terms of proper development, then over the period of time, this area will become the market, the producer. They will get the technology and they will start producing. So you see anywhere in the world except for USA and Europe, जो regions which are rich in raw materials are always poor regions. Whether it is entire Africa, whether it is Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand वाला region, Orissa वाला region, जहाँ raw materials बहुत ज़्यादा है, they are always poor. Capitalism का ज़माना है. It is not welfareism, it is not socialism. These regions are kept poor so that they lifetime become the source of raw materials for the developed countries, for the developed companies. This is what Britishers did to us for 200 years, and this is now what we are doing to some parts of India. Now, so this is one example. ये सारे questions हैं जो मैं आपको अभी कह रहा हूँ, और if you go in the last 5 years यही सारे questions हैं, and this is the gist of the subject. That is, they will ask you a question, even though Africa is blessed with raw materials, why Africa is one of the most poorly developed continent? But now he said Jindal Steel, or now you say Visakhapatnam Steel Plant. The second raw material based industry is petroleum industry. Petroleum industry is always based on the areas जहाँ पे हमें petrol मिलेगा, या that is near the oceans. So सबसे पहले petroleum well was dig up in which state? It's the first petroleum well in the state of Assam. Is Assam an ocean? No. So where do we find petrol? Now understand one simple logic. अगर यहाँ पे we are sitting, that is humans, that is, or there is vegetation, living organisms, और यहाँ पे suddenly बाढ़ आती है. इन बाढ़ कहाँ पे आती है? समंदर में और in rivers. Where does the flood comes? Rivers. And if we get buried below them, we will get converted into coal. And if there is a tsunami, means in oceans, and if we get buried below them, we will get converted into petroleum. इसमें से हमारे में से जो मे बी जो हल्के है वो ऊपर आएंगे, and that will become natural gas. And over the period of time, हमारे में से जो stones के अंदर छिप गए, that is, we get stuck into very very small particles inside the stones, gaps in the stones, हमें कहेंगे shale gas. So this is how the sources of energy are made. Do you eat carbohydrates? Yes. Why? For as a source of energy. नाम क्यों है carbohydrates? Because उसमें the most important constituent is carbon. Do you eat proteins? Yes. Amino acids. क्यों? Again, for building blocks of energy. That is the उसके अंदर का most important source is nitrogen. So whatever the carbon that is present in our body, in certain cases, if we are trapped below some geological formations, we may get converted into coal or petroleum resources, depending upon where we are buried. If you are buried below the saline water, generally petroleum. If you are buried below the fresh water, rivers may you generally get converted into coal. And therefore, when we bury this and sources of energy, जो अंदर का carbon dioxide which has been trapped, it is given out, and we call this as a global warming. Understanding why carbon dioxide? Because our body के अंदर source of energy is carbon. Even in the fossil fuels, the source of energy is carbon, and thus the burning of the fossil fuels is releasing the carbon dioxide, and उससे कारण the temperature of the world is increasing. Now, therefore, most of the industries are located. The petroleum industry should be located near the petrol producing region. Example, the petroleum industries are located near the petrol producing region is Africa, if we say. Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi, Yemen, Oman. ये सारा industries are located near the petrol producing region. India may be Bombay High, Basin High, KG Basin, all this is near the petrol producing region. But India is a democratic country. India is a developing country. Democratic and developing country में government becomes an important part, and government का motive is not profit maximization. Private sector का motive is profits. Government का motive is balanced regional development. And to make sure that there is balanced regional development, government kabhi, though the industry may go into loss, government kabhi, the industries which should be based on the raw materials, unko hilati hai, and they open it jahan pe industrialization kam hai. And therefore, the government knows ki ye industry will go into the loss. But industrial government usko subsidize kar sakta hai. Government can give subsidies, the industries will come into profit, and thus they will start churning up And when they start churning up, the people will get employment, and after getting up employment, the entire area will progress. अगर ऐसे गवर्नमेंट को करना है तो इट शुड बी डन विद द हेल्प ऑफ कोर इंडस्ट्रीज, एंड कोर इंडस्ट्रीज में एक इंडस्ट्री है पेट्रोलियम इंडस्ट्री, द अदर इंडस्ट्री इज आयरन एंड स्टील इंडस्ट्री, एंड देयरफॉर व्हाट ही सेड जिंदल स्टील, it is away from the petroleum away from the source of raw materials. और जो पिछले साल का क्वेश्चन है, why some refineries in India are located away from the petroleum producing region, किसके बारे में बात कर रहा है? It is talking about the Bhatinda refinery, it is talking about the Mathura refinery, it is talking about the Baroni refinery, and lastly it is talking about the Haldia refinery. They are based away from the sources of raw materials. क्यों? यहाँ पे the refineries have been best to increase the balanced regional development, to cause jobs. On other hand, this is based so that India is one of the largest exporter of finished petroleum products, so that we save the cost and it is directly exported. India is the largest exporter of finished petroleum products to which countries? To the West Asian countries or Southeast Asian countries? To the Southeast Asian countries. So you should understand why the refinery is based in this part. यही था पिछले साल का मेंस का क्वेश्चन जीएस का, why petroleum industries are located away from the petroleum producing region. So it was talking specifically about the three industries. So this, can I say industries is based on the resources? Industries is based on the resources. क्योंकि अगर रिसोर्स अवेलेबल है तो ये एक है, दैट इट इज द रॉ मटेरियल बेस्ड इंडस्ट्री. देयर इज अनदर इंडस्ट्री विच इज बेस्ड ऑन द मार्केट, एंड द मार्केट बेस्ड इंडस्ट्री है वो, दैट इज सच इंडस्ट्री कि इट रिक्वायर्स अ रॉ मटेरियल. फॉर एग्जांपल दिस आर 2-3 रॉ मटेरियल्स एंड दिस इज द मार्केट, and these are the industries की raw materials लगते हैं in less amount, maybe 2 kgs, 2 kgs and 2 kgs, but the finished good is of maybe यहाँ पे 6 kgs. So what you will do? You will transport जितना हल्का सामान है as near the market and save the cost, transportation cost, and set up an industry here so that you will be saving the cost. And one of such industry which is based near the market is automobile industry. Automobile industry is market based industry. You take down some of these pointers for PT also. Automobile industry is an market based industry. Iron and steel industry is an raw material based industry. That is done by industrial laws. That is done by the industrial houses. We won't distinguish. So, fine, even not just for automobile, even for construction, for anything. So, the हमेशा जो iron and steel industry है वो अंदर ही होगी. See, metro, Delhi is a market, but metro coaches are made at Delhi? No. They are transported from Gujarat. They are transported from some other places. So, that is an example of an raw material based, market based or some. Why they are transported from Gujarat? Because Gujarat has industry. क्यों है गुजरात में इंडस्ट्री? बिकॉज दिल्ली मेट्रो का कोचेस आर मेड फ्रॉम द टेक्नोलॉजी विच इंडिया डज नॉट हैव, और मेट्रो कोचेस आर मेड फ्रॉम द टेक्नोलॉजी विच वी डू नॉट हैव. सो इट इज नियर द कोस्ट, सो दैट रॉ मटेरियल इज इजीली अवेलेबल फ्रॉम द कोस्ट. फिर इट इज सेटअप एंड इट इज नाउ यू सी ऑटोमोबाइल इंडस्ट्री एंड देयरफॉर it is a market based industry. क्यों? छोटे छोटे parts we can be brought in and then it is assembled, and then it is assembled and sold to the market. Example, Gurgaon, the headquarters of Maruti. Example, Pune, the headquarters of पुणे में कौन सी इंडस्ट्रीज है इंडिया की? इट इज वी हैव काइनेटिक, आफ्टर दैट वी हैव मर्सिडीज, वी हैव टाटा, जहाँ मर्सिडीज होगा वहीं टाटा होगा बिकॉज दे आर इन कोलैबोरेशन. वी हैव आफ्टर दैट स्कोडा, but Skoda is not exactly in Pune, Skoda is in Aurangabad region. When we come to Mumbai, we have Mahindra. And then when we go to Chennai, we have Hyundai and Honda. So this is an example of how they are always near the market. And the third kind of an industry which is there is you take 1 kg of cotton, and after taking 1 kg of cotton, जब आप cotton का cloth बनाते हो, it is also an 1 kg. So cotton industry is an example of उससे फर्क नहीं पड़ता, that is produce it, put it near the raw material or put it near the market, because the finished good is also of the same weight. And इसीलिए cotton industry is distributed at many places in the world. If we apply, cotton industry is distributed at many places in India. And therefore, Ludhiana is also a cotton center, cotton textile industry ka center. But the most important textile industry ke centers are Mumbai and Ahmedabad. Why Mumbai and Ahmedabad? Because Mumbai and Ahmedabad are behind a certain region which is known as an black soil region. And khasiyat ye hai black soil ki, the chief characteristics of black soil is it will pick up moisture, it absorbs the moisture, and because of this it is best for the growing of cotton. And hence the cotton industry is in India is an market based industry. Kaun sa market hai? Remember, not just Mumbai or this centers, but the market is even international market. I guess you know that the textile industry is the largest industry employment in India after the government sector. And secondly, the India is one of the largest exporter of textile industry in the world. So whenever you go to Europe and buy clothes giving very high price, जब आप घर पे जाके खोलते हो और रोते क्यों हो आप? Because वहाँ पे इधर लिखा रहता है made in India or made in Bangladesh. That is, all these countries either have made in India clothes or made in Bangladesh clothes or made in Vietnam clothes. All because यहाँ पे we have black soil वाला region, yeah, it is cotton industry is dominant in this region. And now you understand, cotton industry here in this region, iron and steel industry in this region. And इसीलिए if you look at the past year questions, एक national highway ही मिलेगा जो commonly asked है, that connects the Mumbai with Kolkata wala region. Why? Because it passes through the cotton producing regions of India, it passes through the iron and steel producing regions of India, and that is National Highway 6, NH6, or it is Mumbai Howrah railway line. Mumbai Howrah railway line. So ये भी हमारे syllabus में है, but it is mentioned in paper 3 as infrastructure, So अब ये क्यों NH6? Because this was developed by Britishers. Why Britishers? Because उनके लिए the market was the Europe. India was a supplier of raw material. We used to supply the raw material cotton. The cotton used to be made in their factories, and after making in their factories, we used to buy this cotton. You will understand this because history chali raha hai. And then over the period of time, Indians started doing the cotton industry, and we over the period of time became the supplier of cotton in the world. And because we have to supply cotton, because cotton producing regions can be anywhere, market mein 1 or 2 minutes ka difference can be the profit between the 1 or 2 days ka difference between can be the difference between the profit and loss. For example, 2 phones are being launched today. One is iPhone 6 and maybe one is OnePlus 6. अब ड्यू टू सम रीजंस OnePlus 6 आज लॉन्च नहीं हो पाया, वो 4 दिन उसका पोस्टपोन हुआ. सो व्हाट विल बी द बायर बाय? जो भी, आई टेक एन एग्जांपल, हाइपोथेटिकल कंडीशन कि दोनों की प्राइस सेम है. सो दोनों की प्राइस जब सेम है तो ऑब्वियसली द जो इजीली अवेलेबल है. एंड एज अ रिजल्ट ऑफ दिस वी हैव very good infrastructure in the terms of NH6, etc. Why I'm stressing this topic? I'm stressing this topic because abhi there is an super express highway which is forming in this region, and this is what we will be doing in the mains classes: road versus rail infrastructure. And lastly, there comes another industry जो कहीं पे भी set up हो सकती है, because it is not based on the raw material. And if it, such kind of an industries are known as an footloose industry. Example, electronic goods industry. Example is software industry. कहीं पे भी एक रूम चाहिए जिसमें इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इन द टर्म्स ऑफ 4-5 कुर्सियां है, एंड देयर इज एन द कनेक्शन इन द टर्म्स ऑफ इंटरनेट कनेक्शन, वहाँ पे बैठ के यू कैन सेल इट टू द वर्ल्ड. दैट इज व्हाट इज नोन एज एन footloose industry. Apply this to your real life. Why the industrial development is there? Now, if you go back to this area around 15-20 years से पहले, दिस एरिया में कुछ नहीं था. अराउंड 1986 या 1990-93 के आसपास कुछ नहीं था इस एरिया में. देयर वाज ओनली वन करोल बाग मार्केट. देन सडनली a building known as Vajiram and Ravi opened in this area. So in the terms of small class, over the period of time that Vajiram and Ravi grew, and because the Vajiram and Ravi grew, this is what is known as backward and forward linkages. People started coming here. People started migrating and settling in this region. And because of this, Vajiram, to rent upar chala gaya. Because of migration. People started getting jobs in the terms of property dealers. So they wait for you. उनको मिलना भी मुश्किल हो जाता है during the admission period of June and October. After that, students को Xerox चाहिए. So you go from this area, continuous Xerox की दुकानें, continuous the stationery की दुकानें. Students है तो चाय तो पिएंगे ही. So numerous chai walas are there. There are some students जिनको चाय के साथ they require more oxygen. So उनके बाजू में there are the specific demand categories also, which are open in this road here. And over the period of time, ये सब करके, so we have, इन सब के लिए you require money. Now this is a student area, so यहाँ पे banks की ज़रूरत नहीं है क्योंकि कोई पैसे डालेगा नहीं. Everyone will be removing the money, and therefore there are more ATMs in this area rather than the banks. Banks एक या दो ही है. This is what is known as forward and backward linkages of industrial development. This is what is known as then forward and backward linkages of agriculture. Now this area का forward linkages has gone to such an extent कि the area का influence has increased. Vajiram became very successful. Because of Vajiram, many other classes started coming in an area. क्यों? क्योंकि you raw materials are found at a best single place. अगर classes open in different areas, तो you as a raw material will not be found at the other place. You, तो हम लोग loss में चले जाएंगे. Why? Because maybe you will not travel for a longer distance unless the attraction is such that you can come for maybe even in Dwarka. But because raw materials are found at the same place, so you can say lot many industries are there. Apply this to theory, what we are going to study. This is what is known as conglomeration of industries. That is what is known as the pull factor of the industries, and that is what pull factor is present in the basic industry. Iron and steel industry है तो automobile industries बाजू में आएंगी. If there is an automobile industry, तो electronic goods industry will come. If there is electronic goods industry, ball bearing industry will come, tire industry will come, leather industry will come, and therefore setting up industries is very, very important for in the development of a country. But कौन सी industries? Manufacturing industries. मैंने यहाँ पे सॉफ्टवेयर इंडस्ट्री की बात नहीं की है, मैंने यहाँ पे सर्विस सेक्टर इंडस्ट्री की बात नहीं की है, एक्सेप्ट फॉर वाजीराम. वाजीराम वाज जस्ट फॉर योर एग्जांपल. और यही अप्लाई दिस टू फार्म्स. If government is successful in doubling the farmers' income, which is around 50% of our population, farmers' income will increase. As the farmer income will increase, they will become more scientific. Because they become more scientific, they will start buying the tractors, agriculture equipments or machineries or whatever things, fertilizers, pesticides, etc. So वो industries काम करेगी. जब वो industries काम करेगी, तो they will start employing the people. When they start employing the people at different hierarchical level, right from labor to the manager, there will be money in the market. With the more money in the market, there will be more demand in the market. With the more demand in the market, the standard of livings will increase. As the standard of livings increase, the person, be it laborer or be it a manager, will never think that their son should again or their daughter should again work in the industries maybe at a lower level. So they will set up, they will send them to good schools, and thus service sector industry will start. पैसे आएंगे तो पैसे घर में नहीं रख सकते because चोरी होता है, so banks come. Because the standard of living increases, because the tuition fee increases, so maybe both father and mother will have to start working. And because the father and mother starts working, health pe issues ho jate hain, so hospitals also come in that area. So this is how an entire development of an area comes, which is given in our the second part of our syllabus, that is the including South Asia. Factors affecting the distribution of industries in the world. So whatever we have discussed, abhi bhi aap likh sakte ho. One of the factor is raw materials. The other factor is market. The third factor is labor. The fourth factor is government policies. Government aane deti hai ki nahi? SEZ policies it brings or not. So this all will come in the distribution of industries. One is the profitability. And you can easily write an answer. हर साल एक क्वेश्चन आएगा in this part. And see why we have focused so much, why we have taken so much time on this factor, because इसके लिए resources नहीं है. NCERTs जो है उससे आंसर नहीं बनता. उसमें सिर्फ 2-3 इंडस्ट्रीज के बारे में है. It does not talk about even the questions which are coming from 2013 onwards. कि why sugar industry in India is shifting southwards. Second question, if the Britishers had planted tea all along the Himalayas, why tea industry developed only in the northeast India? You cannot answer with the help of NCERTs. You require to have an holistic knowledge. पिछले साल वाला question answer करके देखो with the help of NCERTs. It cannot answer. You cannot write a single line. NCERT will just provide you a basic framework कि कहाँ पे कौन सा industries है. Then you have to take that information, use that information and create your own answers. This is the third part of our syllabus, that is the important geophysical phenomena such as tsunamis, earthquakes, cyclones, etc. Ye line is redundant because anyways this entire part is covered in the physical geography. Physical geography, we study the same things. We'll start from tomorrow's lecture, continental drift theory. Continental drift theory khatam hote hi, we will come to sea floor spreading theory. And then we'll do the plate tectonic theory. And plate tectonic theory mein hi hum earthquakes, tsunamis, etc. we will finish. So all this part of our syllabus is already done in the physical geography. When we do the Indian monsoon, we do tropical cyclones, and tropical cyclones is one kind of an geographical phenomena, that is which and the fourth part of our syllabus, I am writing up this fourth part of our syllabus. Is the changes in the geographical features, that is location and the changes in the geographical features. and their effects. And their effects. So can I say changes in the geographical features? क्यों हो रहा है changes? Due to some natural reasons, but mostly due to human reasons. That is, we are increasing the temperature. Because of increase in the temperature, there is melting of ice caps and glaciers. Because of the melting of ice caps and glacier, there is a rise in the sea level. Due to rise in the sea level, the many of the coastal areas are being submerged. ये एक change है. अब what is the second example? कुछ सालों पहले तक the farmers in northwest, Punjab, Haryana and western UP did not take rice. But over the period of time, we have started taking rice in this region. This is a Rabi region. Now they have started taking a kharif crop, that is rice. So because of the period of time, then government came with the act known as Manrega. After the coming of Manrega, labor became very costly. So when the labor became very costly, instead of asking employing the labor to remove the rice, after the cultivation of rice, they started burning the fields. When they started burning the fields, obviously the entire Great Plains started becoming more and more pollution. So what we see, changes in the geographical features, natural as well as artificial, changes in flora and fauna and their effects. Take an example of effect of the excess of pollution in North India, especially due to the burning of agricultural crops, is 2015 में we have come over the phenomena what is known as an Asian brown cloud. अभी नहीं करेंगे हम, but if you want to learn about the Asian brown cloud, ये ही अपने ही website पे वो video freely available किया है. That is from the mains का batch, GS का mains का crash course जो है. You can just look at the effect. Asian, that is Asia के ऊपर, North India के ऊपर and China and Pakistan के ऊपर, the clouds are becoming brown. With the clouds becoming brown, effect from 2015, 3,228 people in India die every day just due to air pollution, and most of these are premature deaths. Second effect, 24% of infant mortality rate due to air pollution has increased in India. Third effect, $75 billion का loss होता है due to the effects of pollution. Fourth effect, the agriculture productivity is decreasing in India. Fifth effect, the people who are drinking too much milk in Punjab are suffering from intestinal cancer. अभी तक तो सोचा था कि सिर्फ सिगरेट स्मोक से ही कैंसर होता है, अब पता चल रहा है मिल्क पीने से भी कैंसर होता है. This is the effect, and this is nothing but environment and ecology वाला portion which is seen in this part. So इसके लिए we will require some of the areas from the current affairs. So this is our syllabus in the paper 1. Salient features of the world's physical geography, world distribution of resources, important geophysical phenomena such as earthquakes, tsunamis, cyclones, etc. And fourth, changes in geographical feature, etc. This is nothing but, you just remember, one part of environment and ecology. Why we study this? We study this because in paper 1, मेंस की ही बात कर रहे हैं हम, क्वेश्चन नंबर 13 to question number 20 is this part. So we get somewhere around 7 to 8 questions, 70 to 80 marks from this part. So that is why we study paper 1 का first part, history, art and culture, world history, उसके बाद social issues, and then we have this 4 portions जहाँ से we get the questions. Some of the questions are asking you, even in the paper 1, the knowledge of all the parts which you have studied. For example, पानीपत में इतने battles क्यों लड़ी गई? उसका one reason is history, the other reason is geography. You will have to write an answer combining both. Secondly, they can ask you a question, again mixing both. That is पिछले साल का question. In India, both social and geographical reasons are necessary for diversity in India. Again, you will come to this part. So, how do we see the diversity? How do we see the social issues in India? ये आपको सोसाइटी के हिसाब से भी लिखना है और ज्योग्राफी के हिसाब से भी लिखना है. कैसे लिखना है ज्योग्राफी के हिसाब से? Over the period of time, we will develop that. Some of the questions will be direct, some of the questions will be asking you the entire syllabus वाला part. Getting it? अब आप हिंदू पढ़ रहे हो, अब हिंदू में न्यूज़पेपर है तो बहुत सारी न्यूज़ है, सिलेबस आपके सामने है, आई हैव गिवन यू इन डिटेल व्हाट विल बी देयर इन द सिलेबस। आपको पता है आज से कि विच न्यूज़ यू शुड टेक एंड विच न्यूज़ यू शुड नॉट टेक, because news will keep on coming, each and every news is not important. For example, again I am stressing as a कि कौन सा कीड़ा कहाँ पे डिस्कवर हुआ, कौन सा बटरफ्लाई कहाँ पे डिस्कवर हुआ, XYZ यहाँ पे फुल डिस्कवर हुए, कोई ज़रूरत नहीं करने की, बट वही हम सबसे ज़्यादा करते हैं कि 10 टाइप के फ्रॉग्स मिले हैं वेस्टर्न घाट्स में, फिर एक एक फ्रॉग का साइंटिफिक नाम देखते रहते हैं, फिर ये फ्लावर्स मिला है उसका नाम देखते रहते हैं। बट कभी भी अगर कन्फ्यूजन है, पास्ट ईयर क्वेश्चंस उठाओ, देखो कि अगर ऐसे क्वेश्चन पूछा है क्या, नहीं पूछा है, दे हैव नॉट आस्क्ड यू दिस क्वेश्चन, सो डोंट डू इट। सेकेंडली, हाँ ये क्वेश्चन पर जरूर पूछा है कि कोई बटरफ्लाई अगर मिला है और किसी स्टेट गवर्नमेंट ने उसको स्पेशल स्टेटस दिया है तो वो क्वेश्चन जरूर पूछा जाता है। सो XYZ स्टेट बटरफ्लाई, सो यू शुड नो व्हाट टू डू इट। कल के न्यूज़पेपर में से पूरे इसमें मार्स इंडिया के अर्थ के नजदीक है, कोई काम का नहीं है, लिखा है the distance of celestial bodies from the earth, नहीं, but changes in the critical geographical features, effect on flora and fauna, हाँ melting of ice caps and glaciers is causing extinction of penguins, ये this is mentioned in the syllabus. If you know the syllabus, you know how to read Hindu. If you do not, इसलिए I guess ma'am also has told you कि syllabus देख के हिंदू पढ़ो, syllabus देख के कोई और पेपर पढ़ो। I guess mint भी बोला है, बट फोकस फर्स्ट ऑन हिंदू। डिफिकल्ट है हिंदू, बट क्वेश्चन हिंदू बहुत सारे लोग बोलेंगे लेफ्टिस्ट है, राइटिस्ट है, सेंट्रिस्ट है, ये है वो है फलाना, बट देखो आई एम टेलिंग यू वन सिंपल वर्ड, क्वेश्चन बनते हैं हिंदू से। सो कैसा भी होने दो हिंदू, क्वेश्चंस विल कम डायरेक्टली फ्रॉम हिंदू। दुनिया भर के टॉपिक्स आर कवर्ड बाय DNA, बाय पायनियर, टेलीग्राफ, बहुत अच्छे पेपर्स है। किसके लिए? डिस्कशन के लिए, पेपर्स लिखने के लिए नहीं। क्रायोस्फीयर ये वर्ड आता है हिंदू में, इट कम्स इन द पेपर। एक छोटा कॉलम आता है हिंदू में कि पक्के टाइगर रिजर्व को पाखोई नाम यूज करता है हिंदू, ये पिछले साल के पेपर में आ जाता है। एक पेपर, एक आर्टिकल आता है इन द संडे मैगजीन पार्ट ऑफ हिंदू, व्हाट इज बुलंद दरवाजा में क्या मार्बल यूज किया है, रूमी दरवाजा में क्या है। पीपल इवन डू नॉट नो व्हाट इज रूमी दरवाजा, बट क्वेश्चन आता है डायरेक्टली फ्रॉम हिंदू। इम्पैक्ट ऑफ जूनो मिशन ऑन द अर्थ, जूनो मिशन पूरा इंडस्ट्री न्यूज कवर करता है, हिंदू एक आर्टिकल लिखता है द इंपैक्ट ऑफ जूनो मिशन ऑन द अर्थ, दैट इंपैक्ट ऑफ जूनो मिशन ऑन द अर्थ हेडलाइन बनाती है यूपीएससी एंड आस्क्स यू एज अ क्वेश्चन। Then why people suggest you not to read Hindu is because uska language is difficult, but you should remember if you read the difficult language, now you are in the base, you will increase your expression, you will increase your thinking power, you will increase your vocabulary, which will anyways help you in clearing the examination. So we come to the next part of our syllabus, that is the paper 3. Thank you. See, paper 3 will be taken by 2 teachers, one who will be dealing with economics and I will be dealing with some of the parts of geography from the economics part. And paper 3 mein the portions which I will be dealing is major cropping pattern, is the major cropping pattern in the various parts of the country. ये पार्ट आते आते 3 महीने लगेंगे एटलीस्ट, बिकॉज यू विल बी हैविंग 3 lectures abhi, 3 lectures of different subject. So what I want you ki because the budget session, the monsoon session is going on, isme there are too many discussions going on in MSP on the cropping pattern of a country. So keep on reading this news. समझ में आएगा, नहीं समझ में आएगा, don't worry about it. Just get acquainted with the words they are using. Just get acquainted with the ideas they are giving. We will divide it into the crux and we'll make the answers out of it. But you are, because इसमें कोई concepts नहीं है. But if you are comfortable with this, it will be easy for you to understand. If time is there, I will also tell you what are the news to be taken from the areas. So major cropping pattern in the various parts of the country. उसके बाद irrigation and irrigation system. Irrigation and the irrigation systems. Storage, transportation, etc. Then this area, some parts will be taken by geography teacher, some parts will be taken by economics teacher, and answer you will have to develop by mixing both these parts, that is the marketing of agriculture produce. I'll take the geographical issues, the teacher will take the economic issues. Marketing of the agriculture produce and constraints in them. What are the geographical issues? Cropping pattern and marketing is an geographical issue. What is the second geographical issue? Industries, food processing industries kahan located hai is an geographical issue. What is the third geographical issue? The shelf life of the crops is the geographical issue. What is an economic issue? WTO and its rules is an economic issue. The way government declares MSP is an economic issue. The concept of warehouse, storage house is an economic issue. So this is how you will have to interrelate, because ये paper सबसे ज़्यादा challenging लगता है most of the students को, and इस पे सबसे ज़्यादा resources available है, but the questions are more difficult here. But what is the good thing about this paper? This is the paper which gives you maximum marks in GS. Ask anyone who has written mains, उनका paper 3 का score is very good, 118, 120, 121. Paper 1 का score is somewhere between 90 to 100 or 100 to 110, depending upon geography or history optional वाले हैं तो obviously their score will be more. पेपर 4 का स्कोर कीप्स ऑन वेरिंग, कभी कभी एथिक्स बहुत अच्छा प्रिपेयर करके जाते हो और मार्क्स नहीं आता, कभी कभी कुछ नहीं प्रिपेयर करके जाते हो इन फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट एंड सबसे ज़्यादा मार्क्स आते हैं, बिकॉज दैट एथिक्स पेपर इज दैट वे. द चैलेंजिंग पेपर इन जीएस इज पेपर 2. मार्क्स ही नहीं आते पेपर 2 में, 65, 85, 95. एंड वाई मार्क्स नहीं आते, मैम विल टेल यू, बिकॉज दे ask you the concepts and you write in the normal language. So that is not my area, but you should remember जो strength है you should never give on the strength. Second is e-technology in the aid of farmers. Third part, issues related to farm subsidy. Farm subsidy, again some parts by me, some parts by the respective economic teacher. PDS, what do you mean by PDS? Is the public distribution system. PDS को उन्होंने दिया है, what are the objectives of the PDS, functioning of PDS, etc. Issues related to farm subsidy, PDS, उसका objectives, उसका functioning, etc. And then again, इस part में comes our part, topic, that is food security. Rest of the things are too economics related, so I am not doing it. Economics related का issue is technology missions in the agriculture. Economy related issue is minimum support price वाला areas, that is what is. So यहाँ पे my area will be food security. The fourth area which is there, still you can go through the PPT which you will be getting. The fourth area that is there is the food processing industries. Food processing industries in India, iska location, iska scope, etc. And the fifth area which I will be covering is infrastructure. अब I am giving you one general rule. Over the period में और detail में बताऊंगा how to study this topic or how to study this paper. One is concepts from geography. Second is concepts from economics. Third is current affairs. थोड़ा ज़्यादा चैलेंजिंग है स्टार्टिंग में, बट बाद में बहुत आसान है. Concepts from geography, major cropping pattern. Concept from economics, government gives some kind of subsidies in some area and changes the cropping pattern. Concept from current affairs, then government comes with XYZ scheme, and thus the final answer will be there. आज एक आपको assignment दूंगा. That assignment will be, you will get one Mint ka editorial regarding MSP. Read that editorial and tell me tomorrow what you have understood about the editorial. We'll discuss that editorial in the class itself regarding the Mint. It tells exactly what I want to say. That editorial talks about the historical cropping pattern in India. उसके बाद it talks about how MSP is flawed in India. उसके बाद it talks about Telangana government का one scheme and Madhya Pradesh government का one scheme. That is how they are removing the flaws from India. ये कोई और टीचर पढ़ाएगा कहीं पे भी. This will be from some other teacher and this will be from the third teacher, current affairs. And final answer of this paper will be there. Example, जहाँ पे there is a mountainous region or जहाँ पे there is an hard rock, people do not go and settle in that region. When people do not go and settle in that region, generally this region has less economic development, less infrastructure in the terms of railways. Roads तो होंगे, but railways will not be there. आज भी हिमालयाज में railways नहीं है, आज भी peninsular plateau में the railway का density is lesser. So over the period of time, the government faces losses in railways in that. Because the government faces losses in railways, government thinks of privatizing railways. But privatization is being opposed from the other areas, especially in the developing countries like us, because government का role is welfare. So over the period of time, railways भी नहीं है वहाँ पे. There is no proper development of roadways. People in those region face isolation, economic isolation, social isolation. So to connect these areas, airways is an answer, but airways is too costly. So government launches a scheme known as Udan scheme. In that Udan scheme, there is a faster connectivity and there are some tickets which will be at a lesser price. Are you getting? कहाँ क्यों उड़ान स्कीम की ज़रूरत? And this, and then question comes in the mains last year that though airways connectivity is important, airways have some basic deficiencies. Elaborate. Or the question comes, though railway and roadways both are important for infrastructure development, analyze the distribution of roadways and railways in India and write a short note on the competitive and the complementary character of roadways and railways. क्या है? 3 क्वेश्चन. रोडवेज एंड रेलवेज आर इंपॉर्टेंट, इंट्रोडक्शन आपको बताओगे. फिर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ रोडवेज एंड रेलवेज इन इंडिया, एंड देन competitive and complementary character. Competitive, how it is against each other, and complementary, how they support each other. That is what I meant by the competitive. Now, can anyone tell me the best point about railways and the other best point, one point about the roadways? What is this? Best point about the railways? It is cheaper. It can take goods and services for a longer distance. Generally, in a country like India, railways are mostly run on time as compared to the roads. Roads are kharab because of traffic jam. Then it is good for taking heavy industries, heavy goods. But problem क्या है railway का? Railway does not give point to point connectivity. Point to point connectivity मतलब रेलवे स्टेशन से उतारना पड़ता है, टैक्सी करनी पड़ती है, घर पहुंचना पड़ता है, और रेलवे स्टेशन से कार्गो लेना पड़ता है, देन हायर करना पड़ता है, एंड देन यू हैव टू पुट इन द इंडस्ट्रीज. आपके लिए भी जो अप्लीकेबल है, द सेम थिंग इज अप्लीकेबल फॉर कार्गो. एंड बट how then complementary character develop for a longer distance the railway, and for point to point connectivity bring that railway outside the city. Don't bring it in New Delhi, don't bring it in Sarai Rohila, these are already congested. Develop a new railway line, bring it outside city, and from this give peripheral points in the form of best roads jo direct industries mein jate hain. Example is Delhi Mumbai industrial corridor, example is Delhi Kolkata industrial corridor. ये है क्वेश्चंस. सो वी हैव, ये एक दिन से नहीं आएगा. यू विल हैव टू टेक सम नॉलेज फ्रॉम हियर, नॉलेज फ्रॉम हियर एंड नॉलेज फ्रॉम हियर, देन ओनली यू विल बी एबल टू राइट द आंसर्स ऑफ दिस पार्ट. फाइन विद दिस? So this is our syllabus. This is an introduction of how we are going to do in the paper 2 form, paper 3 form and the paper 1 form. That is, you have understood अभी तक कि जो भी हम पढ़ेंगे in geography, उसका application is more important, and application from India level is more important. And this application is missing in many of the books. No, the agro processing industry जितनी भी है हमें करने पड़ेगी. Whatever the industries I will do, हमें करनी पड़ेगी. Iron and steel industry, coal industry. Example, last year coal पे question आया. Expected था coal पे question. क्यों? Because Paris agreement में से US withdraw. Why did it withdraw from the Paris agreement? Saying that Paris agreement is an agreement for climate change. Paris agreements allowed the developing countries like India and China to produce coal. Kyoto Protocol. While it did not allow the developed countries. In the Kyoto Protocol, there is a difference between the developing nations and the developed nations. जो हम कहते हैं differentiated but common responsibilities. It does not. It is binding on the developed nations because historically climate change किसने किया है? Developed nations ने. And developing nations are still poor. So ऐसा नहीं है कि आज global warming हो रहा है in 2000 era 2000 and India और China के कारण हो रहा है. इंडिया एंड चाइना में तो 1960s तक तो इंडस्ट्रीज ही नहीं थी. इंडिया में तो 1990 तक इंडस्ट्रीज नहीं थी इतनी बेटर. लिबरलाइजेशन, प्राइवेटाइजेशन, ग्लोबलाइजेशन के बाद इंडस्ट्रीज हैव कम इन दिस रीजन. और 1992 में इंडिया में एलपीजी आया एंड 95 में क्योटो प्रोटोकॉल आया. मतलब 3 साल में हमने क्लाइमेट चेंज कर दिया. सो दैट इज ऑल अबाउट द क्योटो प्रोटोकॉल. क्योटो प्रोटोकॉल ये डिफरेंशिएट करता है. ओबामा सपोर्टेड, ट्रम्प जी आए, ट्रम्प जी सेड नहीं, अगर इंडिया एंड चाइना कोल बनाता है तो हम भी कोल बनाते हैं. एंड बिकॉज क्योटो और पेरिस डज नॉट अलाउ अस, वी कम आउट. सो अदरवाइज स्टॉप द कोल प्रोडक्शन इन द वर्ल्ड, एटलीस्ट फॉर इंडिया एंड चाइना. ये सब होने के बाद क्वेश्चन आता है इन यूपीएससी, दो कोल इज वेरी हार्मफुल फॉर एनवायरमेंट, बट प्रोडक्शन ऑफ कोल इज नेसेसरी बिकॉज देयर कैन बी नो इंडस्ट्रियल डेवलपमेंट विदाउट कोल. Analyze critically. Critically analyze means we will have to tell why it is necessary, why it is bad, and critical analysis है तो coal से ही काम नहीं चलेगा. So what government of India is doing? Electric cars, the solar energy, etc. So very predictable questions from this part in the mains. Prelims में yes, it cannot be predicted. कौन predict करेगा कि दिल्ली और मुंबई का latitude same है कि नहीं, ये question पूछेंगे. How you can predict कि XYZ आएगा. फॉर एग्जाम्पल परसों पंजाब पीसीएस में पूछा 0 माइल सेंटर इंडिया का कौन सा है. सो जो अभी रिसेंटली पंजाब पीसीएस का एग्जाम हुआ, व्हाट इन इंडिया इज नोन एज 0 माइल सेंटर. अब मैं इसी स्टेटमेंट को थोड़ा चेंज करता हूँ, विच सिटी इज द सेंट्रल पॉइंट ऑफ इंडिया. Which city is the center point of India? Nagpur is the central point of India. Therefore, Nagpur is known as a 0-mile center because that is the center of India. अब these are the areas. अब ये कहाँ से आए? एक ऑप्शन था नागपुर, एक ऑप्शन था भोपाल. People thought कि मध्य प्रदेश is the center of India, so answer is Bhopal. This you will have to over the period of time generate. कि हिस्ट्री में आप पढ़ोगे कि it was said that post independence में कि shift the capital to Nagpur rather than in Delhi. क्यों? क्योंकि नागपुर is the center of India and we will be safe from the invasion. तो ये सब applied knowledge से ऐसे questions आएंगे. So at least focus right now on mains prelims का over the period of time I will tell. Now what are the things you should do or what are the references you should be having? The first thing is 11th and 12th का NCERTs. There are 4 NCERTs, 2 in 11th, 2 in 12th. चारों के चारों करनी है. ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ 3 करनी है या सिर्फ इंडिया वाला पार्ट करना है इसमें से. When that is your work will start from today and tomorrow that NCERTs class के साथ खत्म कर दो. We will be going much deeper in the class while NCERTs will be focusing only on these things. Only the superficial things. How many of you have done this NCERTs earlier? 11th standard NCERT. You have done this? You have done this? और कोई? So can I say कि 11th standard NCERT is one of the worst written NCERTs? कुछ समझ में नहीं आता after doing that NCERT, कुछ आंसर नहीं होता. Then why I'm asking you to do the NCERT? कि एक psychological pressure निकल जाएगा जब आपको कोई कहेंगे ज्योग्राफी के लिए क्या क्या है. You will say कि मैंने क्लास नोट्स किया. अरे NCERT नहीं पढ़ी, उसमें से क्वेश्चन आता है. So वो psychological pressure निकल जाएगा, इसलिए NCERT मेरे साथ कर लो. Then over the period of time you will realize कि कुछ खास नहीं है उस NCERT में, only in the 11th standard NCERT. But finish it with the class. The second thing is हम weathering करेंगे, हम erosion करेंगे. UPSC sometimes takes the words directly from the NCERT. वो questions मैं भी बनाऊंगा यहाँ पे in the test series, but you should be familiar with the language of NCERT for the preliminary examination. That is why start doing the NCERT. If you do the NCERT with the class 11th standard की तभी खत्म होगी. बाद में के लिए छोड़ोगे तो वो रह जाएगी because that is again I am saying it is one of the worst written NCERT. अगर मेरे को सिलेबस समझाने में इतना टाइम लगा फिजिकल ज्योग्राफी, वो पूरा फिजिकल ज्योग्राफी कितना बड़ा होगा उसको उन्होंने इतने छोटे NCERT में किया है. So obviously that part, that is why it is bad. But 11th standard Indian NCERT is one of the best NCERT and it will be our reference book till the end. So there are 2 books, that is यहाँ पे is world and यहाँ पे is India. This is very good. This worst NCERT. Then 12th standard में there are 2 NCERTs. Again it is human geography is 12th standard. It is the world human and the second is India, land and people. It talks about the location of industries, etc. All these parts in the India, land and people. And world human में it talks about the world distribution of resources, iron and steel industries in the world. So this world NCERT is basically for main examination. जो आया है distribution of resources, factors affecting distribution of resources, which is our second part of our syllabus. The second point of our syllabus, it is covered by this NCERT and very well written. Why very well written? Because इसमें से कुछ रट्टा नहीं लेना है आपको. You do not have to take the data. Data 1980s का है. This is 2018. Data 91 का है. Data 2001 का है. Data नहीं लेना है. Data I will give you. You just have to look at how the trend is going on. So you can do this NCERT over the period of time. Then after that, do the class notes very properly. Because the class notes are in detail, and this has been my experience also from some of the old students also, and also over the period of time कि ज्योग्राफी मेरे क्लास नोट्स के बाहर से नहीं आता. Before joining Shubhra Ranjan group also, or that is I joined in this year, class abhi khula hai, so obviously I have joined this year only, and before that I was in Rouse, so wahan pe also nothing goes out of the notes. So geography के लिए notes are more than enough. Environment के लिए बिल्कुल काम का नहीं है notes. That is मेरे notes 50% ही काम के हैं. I'll tell you that also. क्योंकि बाकी का सब is related to current affairs. But उसका इतना challenge मत, उसका don't worry about this, because here I am the in charge of your GS. So I can direct any of the teacher to cover XYZ issues. I can direct any of this areas too. So don't worry about this. Class notes will be more than important. In fact, ma'am's ideology is कि the classroom teaching should be such कि आपको 10 books पढ़ने की ज़रूरत ना पड़े. And that is what we'll be following here. So the class notes will be comprehensive in nature. उसके बाद some of the people still like to spend money, so you can buy GC Leong. So GC Leong is also a good book, but GC Leong ka, rather than the first part, it is the last part which is important. Last part मतलब chapter 15 to 25. क्या होता है? GC Leong is a very very good book. In fact, you to read very small book of GC Leong. Optional वाले को we give some of the Xerox pages of a bigger book of GC Leong. दो books है GC Leong की market में. एक है पतली सी येलो कलर की, एक है इतनी मोटी. आपको मोटी वाली नहीं लेनी है. If you are planning to buy GC Leong, you have to take that smaller book. That smaller book was written in 1980s, 1990s के आसपास by a person known as GC Leong, and it is the 10th standard का ICSE का text book. International curriculum का वो 10th standard का text book है. And that text book is written with reference to either GC Leong, he belongs to Malaysia. And ऑक्सफोर्ड ने छापी है, तो इट इज टेकन विद द रेफरेंस ऑफ ईदर यूके के एग्जांपल्स है और मलेशिया के एग्जांपल्स है. अब कहाँ पे ये बुक डिफिकल्ट लगती है? कंसेप्ट तो बहुत अच्छा समझाता है, बट विद एग्जांपल्स. अब वी डू नॉट रियलाइज कि वो ऑक्सफोर्ड की बुक है, इसलिए इट इज एन यूके का एग्जाम्पल, एंड बिकॉज ही इज मलेशियन, इसमें मलेशिया के एग्जाम्पल है. हम वो एग्जाम्पल्स रटते बैठते हैं, एंड फिर एग्जाम्पल्स रटते बैठते हैं तो एक पेज पे 10 माउंटेन्स है कम से कम, बट सारे मलेशियन नेम्स या सारे इंग्लिश नेम्स. वो फोल्ड माउंटेन बताएंगे, उसका टाइप्स. दैट विल टॉक अबाउट द रिफ्ट वैली, उसका टाइप्स. दैट विल टॉक अबाउट द वॉल्केनोज, उसका टाइप्स, उसका एग्जांपल्स. एंड देन वी फाइंड दैट बुक डिफिकल्ट. इफ यू आर रीडिंग दैट बुक, जस्ट टेक एन ओवरव्यू ऑफ द बुक. इफ यू आर रीडिंग द बुक, know how to make the diagrams. Geography as a paper, even in GS, is incomplete without diagrams. You will be making the diagrams. I'll meet you some of the toppers also who make the diagrams even in GS over the period. एक दो toppers जो आएंगे आपको answer writing बताने के लिए. Then not just this, there are some of the people, or there are many toppers who will make diagram even in IR, international relation, who will make diagrams even in history. They will make diagrams even in the climate change, even in the society, even in migration. So याद रखना, your answer has to be best. You make it best with the help of diagrams or flow chart. So ऐसा नहीं है कि geography मेरा optional नहीं है तो मैं diagrams नहीं बनाऊंगा. You have to enrich your answer. See, it is a simple thing. This examination has 3 stages. In the second stage, main है. Main, and this XYZ students are writing the main examination. And after, on that, the basis of that, there is a selection. उसके बाद there is an interview. So this examination is nothing but they are testing your communication, they are testing your knowledge, and that is done with the help of communication. दो communication है, एक तो verbal communication, एक तो written communication. Communication में कभी भी there are laws of communication, that is whenever you meet someone, you greet them. So good afternoon, good morning. Apply this to our exam. Introduction is very very necessary in the answer. फिर you talk about the relevant issues. फालतू की बातों करेंगे तो वो भी बोर हो जाएंगे. So that apply this to the exam. That is the body. Body should write what is demanded in the question. And then किसी को गाली देके तो आप जाते नहीं हो without any reason. या you do not end the conversation abruptly. You always say thank you, goodbye, etc. That is a conclusion. And therefore, the importance of introduction, body, and conclusion in the main examination. So whenever you write और जितना इफेक्टिव कम्युनिकेशन है, जितना ज़्यादा इंफॉर्मेशन, तो इफेक्टिव कम्युनिकेशन विद द हेल्प ऑफ डेटा, with the help of diagrams. That is what I want to tell you. So if you are writing an IR ka question and it comes on Indochina, why not make कि यहाँ पे क्या problem है, काराकोरम region का problem क्या है, this McMahon line का problem क्या है. So over the period of time you will have to develop this habit of, and that best diagrams are given of the physical geography in the GC Leong. GC Leong is very good for diagrams. When is your prelims? Which June? So that is the fourth reference. 6 to 10th NCERT, इसमें से very very important is 9th and 10th. 6 to 8 आपको पढ़ना है तो पढ़ो या मत पढ़ो. But you start in March. Now how we make mistakes in the preparation? UPSC preparation NCERT 6ठी से 12वीं तक पढ़नी है, ठीक है. सिमनियर सेज ये कहते हैं, कोई कहता है ओल्ड या न्यू, उसमें ही कन्फ्यूजन रहता है आधा, ये ओल्ड पढ़ूँ या न्यू पढ़ूँ. वो कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ेगा, ओल्ड पढ़ो या न्यू पढ़ो जो इजीली अवेलेबल है इन द मार्केट. सो आई विल तो आस्क यू टू बाय न्यू NCERTs ओनली. अब सम ऑफ द स्टूडेंट वेबसाइट्स या सीनियर्स विल से कि 6th 7th 8th की ओल्ड NCERT पढ़नी है और बाकी सारी न्यू पढ़नी है. ऐसा कुछ नहीं, जो अवेलेबल है अभी इजीली दैट यू डू. 6th 7th 8th की ओल्ड NCERT ये 2008 से पहले की है, जब क्वेश्चंस आते थे फ्रॉम वर्ल्ड रीजनल ज्योग्राफी. वर्ल्ड रीजनल ज्योग्राफी से अब प्रीलिम्स में क्वेश्चंस नहीं आते, जो आते हैं वो करंट अफेयर्स बेस से आते हैं, जो आते हैं वी विल कवर इन द क्लास. सो देन यू स्टार्ट विद द 6th NCERT. आफ्टर स्टार्टिंग विद द 6th NCERT 10 दिन निकल जाते हैं, 6ठी की NCERT खत्म होती है. देन यू टेक 7th 8th, उसमें 2 महीने निकल जाते हैं. Why? Because these books are new and you do it very very properly. In the end जो relevant books हैं यहाँ तक आप पहुँचते ही नहीं हो, because you start from 6th to 10th NCERT. Now how to use this 6th to 10th books is you are very very clear with the concepts from the classes, from the class notes and from 11th and 12th NCERT. Then when the main examination comes nearby, March, April, May, 6ठी की book उठाओ, you will just go through it, skim through it. You will find nothing. But still मैं कहता हूँ उठाओ, एक फोटो मिलेगा किसी एक एनिमल का, note it down. बाकी concepts आपको you already know. बाकी most relevant information you already know. Similarly, 6th book will finish in 1 hour. 7th book will finish in 1 hour. 8th का NCERT you will require to finish in 4 hours. Then you will come to 9th NCERT, which is more important. When you are doing that, प्लेट टेक्टोनिक्स, नेचुरल वेजिटेशन सब पता है आपको, बट यू विल फाइंड अ फोटो और टेबल और वन एग्जाम्पल ऑफ अ नेशनल पार्क जिसमें रेड पांडा मिलता है, जिसमें लंगूर मिलता है. दैट इज द ओनली फैक्चुअल डेटा यू विल टेक, एंड इन दिस वे इन 2 days यू विल फिनिश द 6th to 10th NCERT. बट इफ यू स्टार्ट नाउ, इसको 2 महीने लगेंगे. डू द कॉस्ट बेनिफिट एनालिसिस, ये सिर्फ फैक्चुअल डेटा के लिए है, and this is for the concept. So this is the last part. So that are the references and also the Oxford Student Atlas. Keep on revising the class notes on the daily basis. Now we'll start our syllabus with geomorphology. Can I rub this part? So this subject has 2 parts. One is the theory part, जिसमें there are 3 main theories of geography. That is the continental drift theory, plate tectonic theory, and the seafloor spreading theory. And baki ka part of this subject is application. What do you mean by geomorphology? Geomorphology, if this is our Earth, this is our imaginary Earth. Earth is flat. Earth is not exactly rounded in shape. It is divided into latitudes, longitudes, etc. ये जो base है, latitudes, longitudes, वो climatology के start में होगा, not at the start of geomorphology. Okay, so but this Earth, if we consider we are living on the surface of the Earth, then if we go inside, what is the radius of the Earth? The radius of the Earth is 6371 kilometers. This is how deep our Earth is. And this Earth is divided into continents. There are numerous continents, and after the continents, there are some of the water bodies or the oceans. So we have continents as well as the oceans. Now, oceans matlab water bodies which are found in this. The study of the landforms which are there is geomorphology. क्यों mountain है, क्या mountain है, whether there is a chance of earthquakes, etc. is what is the geomorphology. The study of this water bodies is oceans. And the study of a envelope of an gases which is surrounding the earth and uska impact is what is climatology. There are numerous gases which surround the atmosphere, and this is what is the climatology. So first we will start with geomorphology, uske baad oceanography, uske baad climatology. Most important is climatology from the exam. Geomorphology itna important nahi hai. And lastly we will come to the oceanography. अब जब हम इस कॉन्टिनेंट्स, ये पूरे अर्थ में जो कॉन्टिनेंट्स है उसका एक पार्ट करते हैं, बिकॉज वी आर स्टडिंग, वी आर लिविंग इन दिस एरिया, एंड व्हेन वी स्टडी द जियोमॉर्फोलॉजी ऑफ इंडिया, द क्लाइमेट ऑफ इंडिया, द ओशंस क्या है सराउंडिंग इंडिया, रिसोर्सेस ऑफ इंडिया, दैट इज व्हाट इज नोन एज एन इंडियन ज्योग्राफी. So koi bhi geography has two parts: physical geography which is there, and then human geography. This you have understood, I guess, over the period of time. Human geography is basically based on the resources that are available, industries that are there, and the employment patterns which is there. Because we are living in India, हमारे लिए climate is monsoon. So monsoon is an important for us. हमारे लिए economic geography is mostly agriculture, because India is predominantly an agriculture country, and therefore we focus more on agriculture. So this over the period of time. Now first we'll be starting with geomorphology, and before I start with geomorphology, is everyone here comfortable with the basic map of the world? So can I rub this part? Any doubts up tak here? So how many continents? 7. Which are what are the names of the continents? सबसे पहले there is an North America. After that we have South America. So North America consists of Canada and USA, and the South America consists of Brazil, Argentina. These are the major countries. Then after that we have, which is the other continent, is Africa. Africa के बाद we have Asia, and Asia के बाद we have, in this regions, बोर्ड मुझे छोटा पड़ा, so this is Australia, and Australia के बाद we have New Zealand. Australia and New Zealand is this region. And then we have one part what is known as here as an Antarctica. So this part of the world is known as an Antarctica, which is at the base. Now this Africa ke baad, now after Africa, when we go up, we have this part as Europe. And Europe ka examples, countries, France, Germany, etc. And one of the country is UK. The other country is Iceland, and this part is Greenland. So if we look, this island is Sri Lanka. यहाँ पे also there are numerous islands. So can you tell me the name of these islands? What is this country? This is Indonesia. This country is Philippines, and this country is Japan. This country is Japan. Now can I say the world is divided into two parts? That is, one part is the northern hemisphere, the other part is the southern hemisphere. Before I go, can you tell me what is this country? This is Cuba. Uske baad numerous such countries, and what are these countries here which are small? These are Caribbean islands. What we know that the countries are different, but they have a single cricket team, that is the West Indies. So Caribbean island arcs, Indonesian island arc, Japanese island arc. Can anyone tell me what is this country here? This is an Madagascar. Madagascar island. So we can see the world is divided into some of the major continents, and some of the island arcs are present on the world. Now after that, can I say the world is divided into two parts? Ek to northern hemisphere, the other is the southern hemisphere. What separates the northern hemisphere from the southern hemisphere? What is that central line on the earth known as equator? That central line on the earth which is known as equator. So imagine this is an equator which passes through these regions. So this region is an equator, and when we consider this region as an equator, what is this? This is the northern hemisphere, and this is the southern hemisphere. So we have north and south hemisphere. Now can anyone tell me the oceans which are here? What is this ocean known as? Pacific Ocean. Can I say it is the largest ocean in the world? Yes. It is also deepest, and it is also the largest ocean in the world, and it is the Pacific Ocean. Uske baad what is the name of this ocean? It is an Atlantic Ocean. Can I say Atlantic Ocean has somewhat S shape? Atlantic Ocean. What is the third ocean here? Indian Ocean. What is the fourth ocean here? Is also Pacific. Arctic is up. So this is an Arctic Ocean. And then in year 2002, in the year 2000, we decided, not in even 2000, we decided to name all the waters which lie below 60 degrees south latitude as Antarctic or the Southern Ocean. As the Antarctic or the Southern Ocean. Is it visible? Antarctic or the Southern Ocean. Now, North Pole, South Pole. Now, based on this, what are the conclusions we can make? Can I say the northern hemisphere is dominated by land, while the southern hemisphere is dominated by water bodies? This is the one conclusion we are making. Very, very important conclusion. So, northern hemisphere is dominated by the land mass, the southern hemisphere is dominated by the water bodies. Because ये पूरा land है, and ये बाकी का पूरा area is an ocean. वैसे Earth is dominated by Earth is dominated by the oceans. Can I make the second conclusion, which is here? Though the northern hemisphere is dominated by the landmass, but north pole surprisingly is a water body, Arctic Ocean. North pole, जो north के top है, it is an water body, that is an Arctic Ocean. Secondly, though the southern hemisphere is dominated by the water bodies, surprisingly the south pole is an land, that is the continent of Antarctica. This is the second point you will be remembering. That is the northern hemisphere is dominated by, the first point is northern hemisphere is dominated by the land, but north pole is water body, and the southern hemisphere is dominated by water, but the south pole is a landmass. South pole is a landmass. Fine with this? And now, just look at the atlas, just look at the maps I am making. Once you are familiar with these words, then you will understand many of the theories. Just get familiar with the words. आज बहुत सारी चीज़ें नई लगेगी to many of the people. Just get familiar with the words so that कल के lecture से it will be easier for you to understand. Now the third conclusion can I make by looking at this is that only one ocean, Indian Ocean, is the ocean which has been given the name of a country. बाकी किसी और ओशन का नाम नहीं है कंट्री से. Indian Ocean is the only ocean which has been given the name of an country. And in the Indian Ocean, can I say it is the only ocean out of the three major oceans which is half a ocean? क्यों half? Because unlike the other oceans, Pacific connected to the Arctic and Antarctic, Atlantic connected, but Indian Ocean is surrounded by the landmass in the northern hemisphere. It is not connected to the polar regions in the northern hemisphere. So ये एक conclusion याद रखना. वैसे we will be writing these points many time. I am not dictating anything अभी, but Indian Ocean is an example of an half of an ocean. क्यों हमें याद रखना है? Because इसलिए इंडिया में climate changes. We have a monsoon type of climate. इसलिए इंडिया में ocean currents change. We have the ocean currents which are dependent only on this winds change. इंडिया में the entire climatic belt of India changes as compared to the other parts of the world, and इसलिए Indian geography is unique. Because Indian geography is unique, India has climate which is present at the equator, as well as India has some types of climates which is present at the poles. For example, India में hot deserts भी है, जो बाकी के world में सिर्फ specific locations पे है. India has ice caps and glaciers which is found over the poles. In fact, Karakoram range, which is a part of Himalayas, has the largest amount of ice caps and glaciers outside the polar regions. World में इतना fresh water कहीं पे भी नहीं है जितना Himalayas में है. इसीलिए Himalayas are worshipped by Chinese religion, by Tibet's Buddhism, as well as by the Hinduism. Because Himalayas अगर नहीं होते तो आज ये part जहाँ पे हम खड़े हैं वो नहीं होता. वो you will realize over the period of time. This part is the gift of Himalayas. So this is one of the reasons why Indian Ocean is half a ocean. Second thing is Indian Ocean is an enclosed ocean. In the northern hemisphere, it is enclosed by many countries. But, and what are the countries? Djibouti, Somalia. Badi country hai? Nahi. This country is Oman and Yemen. This is Iran. This is Pakistan. This is India. This is Burma, Myanmar. उसके बाद Malaysia. To some extent, Thailand उस side है, Malaysia. उसके बाद Indonesia. Indonesia के बाद Australia. But यहाँ पे एक ही super power है, that is India. So Indian Ocean के ऊपर India has control over the Indian Ocean. But it is said in geography ka law that one who controls this part of the world controls Central Asia. One who controls Central Asia controls South Asia. One who controls South Asia controls Indian Ocean, and one who controls Indian Ocean rules the world. And this is true. That is why Afghanistan पहले रशिया ने ऑक्यूपाई करने की कोशिश की. After that the USA did. Now China is trying to interfere. India is also interested, because if you can control the Indian Ocean, you control 80% of the world's trade. And इसीलिए हमारे सिलेबस में टॉपिक है जियोपॉलिटिक्स ऑफ इंडियन ओशन, बिकॉज इंडियन ओशन का हेगोमोनी इज चैलेंज्ड बाय यूएसए एंड बाय चाइना. एंड कैसे चैलेंज कर रहा है चाइना? दिस इज a part which is an introduction that China has ports surrounding India in this region, and what you call this as an string of pearls. We'll come over the period of time to the string of pearls policy. But China ने क्या किया है? China has constructed a port in Pakistan known as Gwadar port. China has taken a port in Maldives, that is Malé. China has taken a port in Sri Lanka, that is Hambantota. China has taken a port in Cocos, Myanmar, Coco Islands, and thus this is the string of the pearls policy, because China is making inroads. After that, दो यूनाइटेड नेशंस ने कल भी कहा, कल भी यूएस का स्टेटमेंट है, दैट इज द इंडियन ओशन शुड बी मिलिट्री फ्री जोन. कल के इफ यू हैव सीन द न्यूज़पेपर, कल का स्टेटमेंट है दैट इंडियन ओशन शुड बी मिलिट्री फ्री जोन. बट विच इज द लार्जेस्ट वॉरशिप दैट इज प्रेजेंट इन one of the largest warships of the world is present in Indian Ocean in the Diego Garcia Island, and this belongs to USA. Though the island belongs to UK, UK ने USA को रेंट पे दिया है, and USA ने उसको मिलिट्री बेस बनाया है. और क्या कह रहा है USA? USA कह रहा है कि इंडियन ओशन को मिलिट्री फ्री करो. ये कंट्रीज कह रही है कि सबसे पहले तो यू गो अवे, then only it will be military free. तो USA is saying no, I am the monitor of the class. I will make sure that it is military free. So this is what is the geopolitics of Indian Ocean. Now there is another thing that is associated is some of the mountains that are located, and the most important mountains in the world is, can anyone tell me the name of these mountains? These are Rockies, ROCKIES, Rockies of North America, the highest mountain ranges of the North America. Can anyone tell me the name of these mountains? These are Andes, and these are the Andes of South America. The second highest mountain system in the world is Andes, after the Himalayas. The third important mountains in the world are Atlas. The third important mountains in the world are Atlas, Atlas of Africa. कौन से part of Africa? ये सब याद रखना है. You should know the location of all these mountains. The fourth mountain system in the world is Alps. Alps of Europe. And the fifth, but the highest mountain system in the world is Himalayas. You see how I have made Himalayas? एक लाइन यहाँ पे, उसके बाद ऐसा, and after that this is how the Himalayas is. In fact, आज अगर ये सब बता दिया तो you'll get confused. I should be making Himalayas this way, because this is Andaman and Nicobar Islands, which are nothing but the peaks of the Himalayas that come out from the sea. Andaman and Nicobar Islands are an extension of the Himalayas, and this is what is seen here. So this is Himalayas, one, then they go here, then they go down, go to Burma, and then out, down. So ये सब के लिए we will require atlas, and ये सब properly दिया है इसी atlas में. So buy only this one. So these are the Himalayas. Now what are these? Rockies, Andes, etc., or Himalayas? What are this? Can I say they are mountains? So which is the highest mountain of North America? Rockies. Which is the highest mountain of South America? Andes. Which is the highest mountain of Asia? Himalayas. Which is the highest mountain of the world? Which is the highest mountain of India? Peak नहीं पूछ रहा हूँ, mountain. So all these mountains are an example of an mountains which are highest. Now you should ask me why they are highest. They are highest because of two reasons. The first reason is they are fold mountains. So fold mountains तो highest है तो क्या फर्क पड़ता है? Now what do you understand by fold? They are formed due to the folding of the earth. क्या fold हुआ है earth के ऊपर? Earth का surface fold हुआ है. Earth का crust fold हुआ है. Earth का crust कैसे fold हुआ है? Because of the heavy amount of forces that are coming from interior of the earth. Now to understand this concept, you should know this entire earth which is of जिसके ऊपर हम रह रहे हैं, we are standing on this entire earth, उसका radius is 6371 kilometers and it is divided into different layers. Now to know the earth, just imagine a boiled egg. Boiled egg has three parts. Egg का पीला part, what you will call as an egg yolk. Earth के अंदर भी एक ऐसा part है and we call it as an core. And boiled egg को पीला part का वजन सबसे ज़्यादा होता है या हल्का होता है? सबसे ज़्यादा होता है. So core of the earth is the densest. उसके बाद egg white, that is the mantle of the earth. And उसके बाद egg का छिलका, that is the crust. And ऐसा ही है हमारा अर्थ भी. इस छिलके के ऊपर हम रह रहे हैं and we are nothing but a dust of a dust. That is, dust का एक small सा part is we human beings. Because the highest mountain जो हमें लगता है, which is Himalayas, which is Mount Everest, उसका height is 8.5 kilometers. It is not even 1% of the depth of the earth. That is 6371 kilometers. हमें what we think कि we are the most super intelligent human beings in the world, or super intelligent beings in the world, is we cannot even predict normal things such as earthquakes and tsunamis. With all the science and technology, satellites, etc., ये सब हम कहते हैं India is tsunami ready because tsunami generate होने के 7 घंटे बाद हमें पता लगेगा कि tsunami generate हो गई है. So, but elephants know one day before कि whether there is going to be a tsunami or not. Fishes know 6 months before whether there is going to be a tsunami or not. Or our tsunami early warning system, within 6 hours of tsunami generation, it will give us warning. So, and that's why it is considered the best in the world. It is considered best in the world क्योंकि 6 घंटे पहले बताएगा कि tsunami आ रही है कि नहीं इंडिया में. इससे पहले इंडिया was dependent on Pacific early warning system, जिसने बताया कि इंडिया is going to be struck by tsunami. Maybe वो फोन बिन जो होगा, उन्होंने पूछा कितने देर में, बोलता है जस्ट देखते ही रहो सुनामी आ रही है. So 10 minutes before it told that the tsunami is going to occur in India, just 10 minutes before. So India ने खुद का ये किया. That is what is the difference. Now you should know this are fold mountains because the earth's crust is folded. And why they are so great in height? Because I am introducing one concept here because they are an example of young fold mountains. Why young fold? They are known as young fold mountains. They are known as young fold mountains because they originated in the period of the earth. They originated in the recent period known as tertiary period or alpine orogeny. So for prelims सबसे पहले याद रखना what are the mountains that belong to the tertiary period. ये जो red color के mountains है, Rockies, Andes, Atlas, Alps and the Himalayas. कौन सा period है ये? They are tertiary period. क्यों tertiary? Because earth का period has been divided into primary, बहुत पुराना, then secondary, then tertiary, और जब human beings है quaternary. So they are belonging to the youthful period that is known as an tertiary period. So that is why we call them as an young fold mountains. They are of a recent origin on the surface of the earth. And ये origin is known by the different name, that is the alpine orogeny. क्यों alpine orogeny? Because एल्प्स बने थे. नाउ यहाँ पे 2 वर्ड्स आर देयर, ओरो एंड जेनी. ओरो मतलब माउंटेन एंड जेनी मीन्स ओरिजिन. सो जिस पीरियड में एल्प्स वेर ओरिजिनेटेड, उसी पीरियड में एंडीज, रॉकीज, हिमालयाज वेर ओरिजिनेटेड, एंड देयरफॉर वी कॉल देम एज एन यंग फोल्ड माउंटेन्स. So whenever you go to the preliminary examination, just remember one simple thing: Rockies, Andes, Atlas, Alps and Himalayas, ये सारे cousins है. Why? Because they originated in the same period, and as a result of this उनकी height बहुत ज़्यादा है over the period of time. Got it? Now one more thing I am introducing is, on other hand, there are some of the mountains. Any doubts here? So कल अगर क्वेश्चन आता है प्रीलिम्स में, what are the mountains of alpine orogeny? अगर कल इसमें आता है, consider the question will be somewhat like this. Is the red color visible behind? Identify the odd one out. Identify the odd one out means identify the mountains which do not belong to the alpine orogeny. ऐसा statement होगा. I am not writing that statement. And the options they can give is Himalayas. The options they can give is Andes. Third option हो सकता है Aravallis. And fourth option होगा Appalachians. And then the statement will be 1. ये ऐसे questions नहीं आते UPSC में. A and B only. 2. A, B, C only. 3. C and D only. So what is the answer here? The answer is C and D only. So why? Because हमने किया नहीं है. These are not, they are not young fold mountains, Aravallis and Appalachians. Young fold mountains are Rockies, Andes, etc. So where is this Appalachian? The other mountain which is here, this is what is in USA is known as an Appalachian. Just know the location, क्योंकि ये हमें बार-बार लगे, we will require it many times. Appalachian mountains. The mountain which is here, right from Gujarat to, कहाँ पे खत्म होता है Aravallis? Delhi. हरियाणा में भी है, दिल्ली में है. They start from Gujarat and over the period of time they end in Delhi. The end point of Aravallis is now a famous Gurudwara known as Majnu Ka Tila Gurudwara. That is the geographically an end point of Aravallis. See, हमारे कंट्री में geographically important locations में मंदिर या कोई भी religious place ही मिलेगा generally. So to conserve it. So Majnu Ka Tila Gurudwara, and highest point of Aravallis in Delhi is Raisina Hills, जहाँ पे president का house is located. नहीं, it is lower. You are right now on Aravalli था, and इसलिए ये रास्ता ऐसा है, and you call this as a ridge road. राजेंद्र नगर के आसपास का एरिया रिच रोड है because this is the old Aravallis. Now, if we will do over the period of time कि once upon a time this Aravallis were as high as Mount Everest. ये जो part था, this was as high as Mount Everest, this were as high as Himalayas, but they have been eroded over the period of time. क्यों? Because one statement you just remember that the final surface of the earth, जितने भी mountains है, ये create होंगे and they will be destroyed. They will be created and they will be destroyed. In fact, tomorrow we will introduce one law of geography that the only thing that is permanent is change. ये कोई philosophical statement नहीं है, ये proper एक law है geography का. The first law of geography says that the only thing that is permanent is change. क्योंकि आज जो हम जहाँ पे बैठे हैं, क्लास जहाँ पे हो रहा है, 1 लाख साल पहले यहाँ पे गड्ढा था, कुछ नहीं था यहाँ पे, और 1 लाख साल बाद there will be the 4th parallel range of Himalayas. So today in the after 1 lakh years ये दिल्ली बिल्ली कुछ नहीं रहेगा. This will be 4th parallel range of Himalayas. और जो हम अंदर बचे हैं, जो अंदर ट्रैप हो जाएंगे, फिर आगे की जनरेशन पढ़ेगी हमें कि हिमालयाज आर रिच इन पेट्रोलियम डिपॉजिट्स, सो ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. So why is this? Because जितना भी old है mountains, they are reduced in height, and therefore note down the first statement for your prelims is that the Aravallis are the oldest fold mountains in the world. Aravallis are the oldest fold mountains in the world, belonging to an era which is known as pre-Cambrian era. Belonging to an era which is known as an pre-Cambrian era. Belonging to the era which is known as an pre-Cambrian era. While Himalayas कौन से era को belong करते हैं? Tertiary. That is a period actually, and Aravallis pre-Cambrian. Next point, Appalachians. The next point, the other examples of old fold mountains are, one, Appalachians of North America, second, Urals. क्या है Urals? It is a mountain range which is located here, and that is considered as a division between Europe and Asia, because geographically there is no division between Europe and Asia. Both are same, but culturally there is a difference between Europe and Asia, and इसीलिए we consider that as an Urals. And third, so the other old fold mountains are Appalachian, Urals, and third, mountains of Scandinavia. Mountains of Scandinavia, Ireland, mountains of Scandinavia, Ireland. So ये जो mountains है यहाँ पे, these are what are known as the mountains of Ireland and the mountains of Scandinavia. These are old mountains, Urals and Aravallis. तो इसमें से oldest कौन सा है? Aravallis. You have to remember this all lines because यही है prelims के question. Now understand one simple rule. जितना older is the landform, उतना, and if it is still present today, it has not yet been destroyed. इसका मतलब ये है कि it is made up of tough minerals, and because it is made up of tough minerals, generally metallic minerals वहाँ पे मिलेंगे. Understand? Metallic minerals will be found. ये लिखना नहीं है, ये just याद रखना है over the period of time. Metallic minerals oldest landforms में मिलेंगे, and जो नया landforms है, it won't be having metallic minerals. Now, one statement you take down: Aravallis is an part of Peninsular Plateau. Aravallis is an part of Peninsular Plateau. Aravallis is an part of Peninsular Plateau. Full stop. Peninsular Plateau, फिर से Peninsular Plateau, comma, Canadian Shield, comma, African Shield. ये जो सेंट्रल पार्ट है अफ्रीका, इट इज नोन एज एन अफ्रीकन शील्ड, कॉमा ब्राजील. These are oldest plateaus in the world. Brazil, these are oldest land masses in the world. These are oldest land masses in the world. Full stop. Hence this land masses are geologically stable. Hence this land masses are geologically stable. इसका मतलब ये है कि यहाँ पे earthquakes, volcanoes वो सब नहीं है. That is absence of earthquakes and volcanoes. Geologically stable, comma, and rich in mineral deposits. And rich in mineral deposits. And rich in mineral deposits. So minerals इंडिया में पेनिनसुलर प्लाटू. और कहाँ से पेनिनसुलर प्लाटू शुरू होता है? अरावलीज, मध्य प्रदेश, झारखंड, छत्तीसगढ़, उड़ीसा, आंध्र प्रदेश, तेलंगाना, महाराष्ट्र, गुजरात, कर्नाटका, ये सारा पेनिनसुलर प्लाटू है. एंड नॉर्थ ईस्ट में पेनिनसुलर प्लाटू इज द स्टेट ऑफ मेघालय. अब जब हम इंडियन ज्योग्राफी करेंगे, मिनरल्स हम इसी बेल्ट्स में करेंगे. When you will do Indian geography and when you will go for examination, there will be 1 or 2 questions which will be there from northeast and generally आपको answer नहीं मिल पता होगा उसका. But if you know the concept, if अगर question पूछा है XYZ mineral is found in which state of India and states में सिर्फ northeast है, तो answer is मेघालय. Because minerals सिर्फ जहाँ जहाँ plateau है वहाँ मिलेंगे. ये हम over the period of time इंडिया में करेंगे. See, it is impossible to know all this. इतना सारा डेटा इस एग्जामिनेशन में रट के जाना इम्पॉसिबल है. यू शुड बी वेरी वेरी स्मार्ट ऑल्सो. एंड बिकॉज ये कम्पिटिटिव एग्ज़ाम है. अगर आप नहीं करोगे तो यूपीएससी को तो 10,000 सिलेक्ट करने हैं. सो वो तो कहीं पे भी मिल जाएंगे. 10 लाख में से 10,000 निकालने क्या बड़ी बात है. 6 लाख लोग एक प्रीलिम्स देंगे, उसमें सिर्फ 10,000 मिलना है, लेना है प्रीलिम्स के मेंस लिखने के लिए. सो इट इज़ एन कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम. एंड कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम में एक जनरल रूल होता है, आपकी पढ़ाई मैटर नहीं करती, आपकी कॉम्पिटिशन कितनी पढ़ाई करती है वो मैटर करती है. सो यू शुड ऑलवेज स्टडी मोर देन योर कॉम्पिटिशन और यू शुड बी स्मार्ट देन योर कॉम्पिटिशन हियर. सो इफ दे आर स्टडिंग फॉर 12 hours and if you are studying for 2 hours, you are out of the race. If they are studying for 12 hours and अगर आप आइंस्टाइन हो तो आपको फिर भी 8 घंटे पढ़ना ही पड़ेगा. अगर आप डोंकी हो तो आपको 12 घंटे, 15 घंटे, 20 घंटे पढ़ना पड़ेगा. सो दैट इज द area where we are doing. So with this, take one more statement. The landforms are continuously created and destroyed. The landforms are continuously created and destroyed. Younger the landforms, greater will be the height. Younger the landforms are continuously created and destroyed. Younger the landforms, greater will be the height. Greater will be the height. And older the landforms, the topography will be relatively near the sea level. The topography will be near the sea level. Topography मतलब height. Sea level मतलब near 0 kilometer. Sea level is considered as a 0 kilometer. So ऐसा नहीं है कि दिल्ली is near the sea level मतलब दिल्ली के पास समंदर है. इसका मतलब यह है कि दिल्ली is near 0 kilometers. दिल्ली की height is less. So we'll meet tomorrow. Bring the atlas along with you tomorrow. You will understand that in tomorrow's lecture. Younger landforms में generally mineral deposits इतने नहीं होते. Example is Great Plains. इसलिए यहाँ पे एग्रीकल्चर इज़ द इम्पॉर्टेंट ऑक्यूपेशन. पेनिनसुलर प्लाटू इज़ द ओल्डेस्ट, इसलिए वहाँ पे इंडस्ट्रीज आर देयर.
ओल्ड माउंटेन में कॉकेशियस माउंटेन भी था,
मिडल
वो मिडल एज.
ओल्ड अरावलीज, ओल्डेस्ट अरावलीज, उसके बाद कॉकेशियस, एप्लेशियंस, यूराल्स मिडल एज में आएंगे.
एप्लीकेशन ओल्ड में नहीं आएगा,
नहीं,
वो मिडल एज में.
पर इतना डिटेल में जीएस की ज़रूरत नहीं होती, इसलिए हमने लिखा ओल्डेस्ट इज अरावलीज, उसके बाद